Man City have done it again. They have done it again. Ladies and gentlemen, it's so clear to see. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to see it. They've signed a player that in the next 5 to 6 years we will be looking at and saying, they did it again. They signed one of the best midfielders in the world that went on to mark the history of this league. Tijjani Reijnders, it is as clear as day. It was as clear as day to anyone who watched them before City. Then when the signing happened, it became even more apparent. The Club World Cup made it even more apparent than that. And then today is just rubber stamped. This guy is going to be absolutely ridiculous. I mean, when you talk about the football clubs in the Premier League that over the history of this league have collected the best assortment of Premier League midfielders, I think Chelsea are right up there, to be fair, right? You talk Lampard, you talk Fabregas, you talk Makalele, Kante, Essien, Balak. I'm sure I'm missing a few, right? But really the standout ones. You look at Arsenal, right? Vieira, Fabregas, Gilberto Silva, Ozil, Cazorla. Do any of them touch Manchester City? Do any of them? You're talking Yaya Toure, David Silva, Fernandinho, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, Ilkay Gundogan. Am I missing anybody? Oh yeah, Tijjani Reijnders. It is so clear, guys. Don't overthink it. Seriously, from me to you, do not overthink this. It is as straightforward as you can really get. He is going to be a star at Man City. He is going to be a regular in this team. And from day one, he has fit like a glove into Guardiola's system. This is, quite simply, a signing that cannot and will not go wrong. He is a Guardiola midfielder to a T. Watch him. He's so good in the first phase at collecting the ball from deep, at starting attacks. He's so good in the second phase as well too, keeping possession, keeping it ticking, circulating it, navigating, maneuvering his way through those tight spaces like he did for the opening goal today. He's so good in the final third as well, making those late runs into the box, finishing with ease, creating chances, setting players up. There's not much from an attacking side of the game from midfielder that Tijjani Reijnders really cannot do. He's a jack of all trades, and he might be a master at a few of them as well too. Who is it that I sound like I'm speaking about right now? It sounds like I'm speaking about Ilkay Gundogan, except I'm talking about Ilkay Gundogan like 3, 4, 5 years ago. In Reijnders, that's the replacement. And I'm sorry, only City find a way of making these genius signings, but for the most obvious amount of money ever. 46 million pounds for Tijjani Reijnders. I think it ended up being like, what, 55 million euros altogether for Tijjani Reijnders. You look at, with all due respect, some of the players that are going around in this market. Can any of them sniff his quality? And it's not like he just burst onto the scene, right? He was the midfielder of the year in Serie A last year for AC Milan, a struggling Milan team. He, I thought, was incredible in the Euros a few years back for the Netherlands. He's a player that clearly possesses a lot of quality. And for City's sake, the best thing about him might just be as well, too, he's not 20 years old. I wouldn't say he's a seasoned vet either. He's not on his last legs, but he's smack dab in the middle of his career. He's right where you want him to be. There's no adaptation period needed. There's no, oh, he might be washed in a year. He is smack dab right where you want to sign him. 25, 26 years old. That's what it looks like. They pulled a blinder, and what a player, right? Today's debut. Official Premier League debut, right? Because we saw him at the Club World Cup. We saw him in the friendlies this summer. He's looked good. But this has really just rubber stamped that City have signed a gem. Because he was so influential in everything they did today. But, I mean, let's just talk about the whole game, right? Manchester City 4, Wolves 0. Did anyone expect any differently? I'll tell you what, I didn't. I had Haaland in my team, in my FPL team. I had Reijnders in my FPL team. It just seemed like a formality. Wolves are a side that I think this season are really going to struggle down there. They've lost Cunha. They've lost Aït-Nouri playing for City, of course, today. I think they're going to find it very difficult. I do expect them to narrowly stay up, but is it going to be straightforward? Absolutely not. I think they will 100% be in the mix with the likes of Brentford, with the likes of Sunderland, Leeds, Burnley, maybe even West Ham off today's evidence. They will be down there. So it's not that I'm really like surprised by City today, but it's just like how ruthlessly brilliant they still are. And this was without Foden, who, yes, he needs to have a bounce back season this year, but we know his quality. Foden wasn't available today. Savinho was kind of heading out. Cherki came off the bench. It's a City team that Nico Gonzalez never plays. He got a start today. Oscar Bob starting. It is a City team that did make some changes to the 11, but one thing about them this year, they will score goals for fun. I don't have them winning the league, as you guys know, even though I do think it heavily relies on the fitness of Rodri and the return of Rodri and the return of Foden, and also maybe they could bring in a guy like Rodrigo, but my qualms with City maybe come from a defensive side of the game, where I think today Wolves did maybe cause a few question marks, guys, if we are being absolutely honest. I know everyone will be raving about City today, and rightfully so, but let us also be honest. Wolves did create the odd chance today. They did find some threat, some success against City from a transitional point of view, in particular down Rayan Aït-Nouri's side. A few crosses that maybe if their player had been a little more intelligent in terms of staying on side, They could have been 1-0 up in this game, maybe even 2-0 up, but maybe that's me being nitpicking. Maybe better teams might take advantage of that, but for City's sake today, we'll kind of let that go because there are too many positives to kind of outweigh it with negatives. This was a 5-star City performance from an attacking point of view. It starts with, who else? Erling Haaland, but really the mastermind of the entire play was Tijjani Reijnders, who picks up the ball from deep, weaves past one with an incredible bit of skill, plays it into the feet of Bernardo Silva with a delectable dink over the top. Bernardo plays it across goal, and the man who always seems to know where to be. Seriously, he could be on the other side of Alaska. If he sniffs that a ball is going across goal, he will be there. He will be there. He could be on Mars. Ball across goal, he's there. He could be in a different galaxy. Star Wars. What's one of the planets? Naboo. He could be on Naboo. If he sees that ball going across goal, he will be there. No one's instincts are even on par with this guy. 1-0 City. Surprise, not me. Second goal. Oscar Bob picks it up around the halfway line, right? Oscar Bob, by the way, what a player this guy is. What a player. Such a player, honestly, last season was my pick to win Young Player of the Year. He looked ridiculous in preseason for City. In the Community Shield, he destroyed Lisandro Martinez. But unfortunately, that injury really killed his momentum, and he didn't get to have the season I thought he really was destined to have. But this season, it is evident by Pep's decision to allow Savinho to leave that he really believes in this kid. And I think today he's gone a long way, Oscar Bob, in kind of deserving that praise, deserving that loyalty, deserving that trust, because he was exceptional today, man. The kid's feet are so quick. He's such an intelligent player. And he plays into Tijjani Reijnders with perfectly weighted ball that Reijnders just kind of finishes across goals, showcasing another tool in his arsenal. But for me, I was really impressed in Reijnders' dedication, his motor to go from deep. Again, he was side by side with Bob, run past all the Wolves defenders, and get himself in an attacking position. And that's what Reijnders has in his game. He is, again, a jack of all trades in the first phase, second phase, but also in the third phase. He has goals in his game. And today, I expect to be the first of many, man. Honestly, took his goal so well. Left-footed finish across goal. And that was really game over, right? I know the second half, Haaland added another one. Again, shocker. But maybe the big story as well, too, is Rayan Cherki coming on and very, very quickly scoring a goal that you would really expect from Rayan Cherki. Starts from his flick, gets it back to him, one step over, gets past the player, puts it into the far corner with his right foot. It just showcases everything Cherki is about. Two-footedness, check. Trickery, check. Associative play, check. Audacity, check. World-class ability, check. This kid's a star. There's no other way to kind of put it. And I know some people have looked at Cherki and said he's going to come to the Prem and he's going to struggle. I'm not one of those people. Do I still have question marks about him and Pep? I do. Maybe I'm being pessimistic here, right? Because I really like Cherki, and I want to see him be the best player possible. So maybe I'm being pessimistic. By all intents and purposes, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? But one thing I will never doubt about this kid is his talent. This is a real talent. And whether it's going to be 30-minute cameos where he kind of just closes out the game, or maybe he's trusted from the start. I think Pep will probably start playing him more from the beginning of games at home, and then maybe like away from home, he maybe starts on Marmoush, or he plays 3 in midfield. I don't know, but I think Cherki will be eased into the team in the first few weeks. I fully expect that. But today was really just a showcase of what he can do given the opportunity. And that is just vintage Cherki and something I expect to see much more times today. Outside of that, right, again, City, they're your typical City. The minute they kind of score one, I think the opposition is in trouble because all of a sudden they're not able to sit as deep. They open up, spaces kind of pick up for Haaland to run into. Midfielders are able to kind of like bypass their opponents and get into the box in dangerous positions. And City, the waterworks just open for them. But I always do think with City, in this current iteration, there is every chance for an opposition to hurt them. And again, I'm going to be nitpicky, right? But Wolves did find some success in that first half. The Haaland goal really killed them off. But before that, guys, we have to be honest here, there was success against them. And this isn't just a City thing, right? I didn't watch the full game, but I've seen the highlights from Liverpool. Similar thing happened to them. I watched the Community Shield. They're not a perfect side either. Maybe the only team that tends to kind of like lock teams out of the games feels like Arsenal, but then from an attacking point of view, I don't think they're on Liverpool or City's level. So there isn't a picture-perfect 18-19 City team in the Premier League at the moment, right? Every team has their flaws, but City's is most definitely their weaknesses in transition, I think. I think you can hit them with counterattacks. You can hit them with balls in behind. I think balls into the box, they're still a little shaky. But also at times, I feel like dealing with a high press, they give the ball in the most careless positions at times. I mean, Reijnders saw himself picked off a few times. Doku. It is just a little sloppy from City. And sure, you could argue as well, too, it's early season, right? They aren't completely confident in the system. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here, but I think there is more to make out of it. And I think if City really want to give this league a proper go this season, they're going to have to be a lot stronger in the middle of the park and in the wide positions than they were today. I mean, look, I love Aït-Nouri, but something I've always said about him, I think he's an optional defender. I don't think he's a bad defender. I think when it's 1v1, when he needs to kind of lock in, Aït-Nouri is capable of defending. There was an amazing tackle that he had on the right winger for Wolves today. He's capable of defending. I'm not trying to pretend that this guy is like... I mean, Cancelo I thought was a pretty bad defender. I love João Cancelo. I didn't think he was a great defender. Aït-Nouri can defend. I think his focus levels at times are a question. I've watched this guy for Algeria so many times, and he's an amazing player. But that is maybe a side of his game that he needs to improve. And then when you have Rico Lewis on the other side, who again, terrific player in areas, but not the best defensive player, I do think there is a weakness there for City. What I will say about Aït-Nouri, though, is going forward, this guy is incredible. I've called this guy a winger at times. Like, he is so comfortable on the ball. And when it comes to driving with the ball forward, running past players, carrying it in open space, I'm not sure City have many better players in that regard than Aït-Nouri. I think he is incredible. He's so gifted on the ball. He's so adventurous. He's so comfortable. In that sense, I genuinely think City have signed a jewel. I think he's going to be so important for them. And look, I think Gvardiol did a really good job at left back over the last 2 seasons. I know towards the end of last year, he started playing more as a center back, but the year before that, he was putting in some amazing performances at left back. But with all due respect to Gvardiol, who I think is an incredible player, Aït-Nouri is really a specialist out there. He is so damn good. And I look at Cherki, Aït-Nouri, Reijnders, and even James Trafford. How does City do it? How do City find these players that we look at and we all say they're amazing players? They're players that would get into most sides in the league, if not all of them, except they don't pay 100 million for these players. I mean, look, I'm not trying to say City are perfect with signings, especially of late. They have been a little suspect, right? I'm not going to pretend that's not the case. But they also get it right a whole lot of times too. How have City signed Reijnders for 46 million? How have City signed Aït-Nouri without really breaking the bank for him as well too? How have City signed Cherki for 30 million? And that's not really even the question. Not how have they signed them, because they were available. Why do other sides not identify those players as well too? You look at Aït-Nouri, who's been one of the most sensational players in his possession in the Premier League for years now, and the team that really goes after him hard is arguably the best team in the league. How do they do it? It's incredible. Aït-Nouri, I expect to really revolutionize the City team from an attacking point of view. And again, from a defensive point of view, I think there's a lot of potential there. I just think the focus, at times, he does let runners go off him. He is susceptible sometimes to a ball over the top that he is not able to read correctly. If I'm being nitpicky, right? I love Rayan Aït-Nouri. He's been my national team's best player for the last 3 years now, I would say. Honestly, he's our most consistent performer. That doesn't say much because we haven't been great, but I love Rayan, right? But I think he gets that side of the game, and City have a real jewel in that position. And then in midfield, I will not be fully sold on this team in terms of winning the league until I see what Rodri comes back. If Rodri comes back to the Rodri we know, I believe City can win this league. And I might even pip them to do it. But a huge part of it relies on his fitness. Because when he's on it, he's the glue for this team. We saw it 2 years ago. Every game he plays, they go unbeaten. He's the rock in there. He's the build-up. He's the transition killer. He's at times creating chances. He's scoring goals. He is their midfield. So I can't fully judge the City team until I see what he looks like when he comes back. And I think from there, that will really tell me, are City ready for prime time this year? Because right now, we know they're a top 4 team, easy. We know they're going to be in the race. That I have no doubt about. But getting over the finish line, I will say this, from an attacking point of view, they can chat to anybody in Europe. But from a defensive point of view, I still have my question marks. And I think I'm fair to do so, right? But today is all about Reijnders. It's all about Erling Haaland. It's all about Rayan Cherki. And it's all about Man City. 4-star. I'll say 4-star because they only scored 4 goals, right? But what a special team. And I think roll on the season, to be honest with you. They have a decent start to the season. When I looked at their fixture list, it is pretty straightforward for the most part. A few hard games here and there, right? But nothing impossible to deal with. So you never know with City as well, too. They're fully capable, as we know, of going 12 games unbeaten, 13 games unbeaten. Hell, their previous iterations of City have won 12 games in a row, let alone unbeaten. So get a good head of steam at the start of the season, similar to how I expect Chelsea to do. They'll be right in and around those positions around November, December. And then from there, it's all about kind of finishing what you started. But early days still for Manchester City, but today was a real statement that I think they're going to be a lot better than they were last year. Is that enough to finish at the top of the table? Only time will tell.